Lolly Lolly says, what's the difference between TOEFL and IELTS? Well, basically, IELTS is they're both evaluations of English, okay? They both can evaluate how good your speaking, writing, listening, and reading are. Therefore, non-native English speakers usually preparing for university. The United States requires TOEFL, usually, most universities, for foreign students coming to the United States to study. Many other countries, like Canada, UK, Australia, New Zealand, require instead IELTS. And there might be some universities in the US that require IELTS too. I'm not totally sure. But they both serve the same purpose. Now, they are very different in style. While they have the same main sections, let's take the speaking section as an example. In the TOEFL exam, in the speaking part of the TOEFL exam, there are 6 sections. And when you answer the questions in the sections, you're talking to a computer. You're answering to a computer, and you have a limited period of time to get ready for the question, prepare for the question, and to then speak. So there's a window of time. And so there's quite a bit of pressure there, and you have to try to piece together information and explain something. The first 2 questions are just basic discussion-style questions where you talk about something. Then questions 3 through 6 are, for example, reading a passage and answering a question about the passage, or listening to something and reading a passage, answering a question about those 2 things, right? And it's sort of like that. But so then your ability to answer the question requires you to have a good comprehension of a dialogue, for example, or a passage, or a lecture, right? And so if you have pretty good speaking, but you don't catch some words when you're listening, and your listening is not very strong, then your speaking will be impacted negatively by not having great listening. So it's a bit more integrated. In fact, I think those questions are called integrated questions. When it comes to the IELTS, it's a lot more straightforward. When you're in the speaking section, you're just focusing on speaking. Now, of course, you have to understand what the IELTS examiner is saying, but they speak relatively slowly. They can repeat themselves if you need them to. It's much more conversational. It is a conversation. There are 3 parts in the speaking section. There's one where you answer a simple question or 2, then you get into the main question, which is part 2, and that has pieces to it. That's maybe the hardest. And then there's a follow-on question, which is the 3rd. And these 3 combined add up to all of the elements that the examiner is looking for add up to your score in speaking. So I think the IELTS is a lot more natural because it's more conversational. It's more like real life, right? Because it's a conversation. And therefore, you'll get a more accurate score. How is your English actually? I think it will give you a better sense for where your English really is. So if you're going to choose one to take, I'd go for IELTS, honestly, and only take TOEFL if you have to. Otherwise, avoid it. I know I shouldn't say that because I'm an American, but I don't like it. It's not a good exam. I think it's a bad exam. It's just my opinion. All right. Well, if you guys haven't already, make sure you hit the like button, of course. Don't forget to give a thumbs up, subscribe so you can see future videos, and also check out the courses, my full English courses, in the links in the description.